Hello everyone. It is 9:38 in the London airport, and you might be wondering, Gretchen, why are you and Lucy not on your plane right now? Well, it's because we missed our flight. So now I'm in a better state of mind, and I feel like I can talk about it. But about 10-15 minutes ago, I was like sobbing and screaming and angry and wanted to just yell and like punch someone. So let me just tell you what happened. So the lighting is so awful right now. So Lucy and me and Aaron Idelson, you guys know him, and Caroline, they're like the best people ever. We love both of them so much. We went to high school with Caroline, and she's studying abroad in London, so we just had like the funnest Friday and Saturday with them in London, and then today we had like a really good day with them. We went to the London Eye and couldn't find Aaron because our phones don't work in London, so we literally were both there but just couldn't meet up with him because we didn't run into each other, so that was awful. But then we met at this Mexican restaurant in Oxford Circus. So after that we were like, okay, we'll go shopping a bit around Oxford Circus because it's where like all the shopping is. And then after that we were gonna go to the Winter Wonderland in Hyde Park, and we were like, oh my gosh, perfect. Like, Lucy's my hotel that we stayed at. We stayed at the Sheraton, by the way, in Park Lane, and it was right next to Hyde Park, and we had left our bags there during the day. All we have is like these big huge backpacks that we filled with things because we were only in London for 2 days. So we were like, okay, perfect, we'll go to Winter Wonderland, it'll be great. We'll leave, go grab our bags, hop on the tube, and then get to Gatwick. Flew into London City Airport, but then we had gotten our flights out of Gatwick like previously. So we were like, okay, if we leave Winter Wonderland by like 6:45, that gives us way too much time to even like think about being late, because we're like, our flight left at 9:35, and then we just knew that we should be at the airport by like 8 then, like perfect, like an hour 35 minutes early, right? So Caroline's like, it'll take you guys 45 minutes to get from London to Gatwick. You could leave by like 7:15, but maybe just like leave by 7. We're like, okay, great. So if we leave Winter Wonderland by like 6:45, our hotel's like right next to it. We grab our bags, we go, we get on the train by like 7. Good to go. We'll get there like 7:45 at Gatwick, right? Things don't work out as planned, okay? Our hotel was not as close to Hyde Park as we thought it was. It was like a 10-minute walk. Then we get our bags and we're trying to like figure out where the tube is, and we royally screwed up, and that's really where this all went wrong, because Lucy and me walked around for a half an hour, so lost, like walking in circles just trying to find the tube station that we were supposed to get on to get to Station Victoria, which gets you on the Gatwick Express, which brings you to Gatwick Airport. So basically it's like 7:40 and we're freaking out, and we're like still not on a train to get to Victoria, to get to Gatwick Airport, and we didn't realize that Victoria was not even that far, and we could have walked to Victoria, but we didn't know this, right? So finally we end up going back to the Sheraton, back to square one, so we can have Wi-Fi and try to figure things out, because when we're running around, like, we don't have service. Lucy's phone got stolen, you guys know that, so we only have mine. We're running around like chickens with our head cut off, and we talked to this guy and he's like, go to Green Park, and it's only one stop to Victoria, so we could have walked to Victoria, like I said. Get to Victoria, get on the Gatwick Express, whatever. So we go to Green Park, get to Victoria, get off, get so lost in Victoria, and we're like asking random people, where do we go? We can't find the Gatwick Express. We asked this random guy, and he's like, you're like on the wrong level, you're still underground, you need to go above ground to the actual train station, get a ticket there, get on the Gatwick Express to go to Gatwick. We're like, cool. You probably don't even care, this is such a long story, just like click out of this video right now. Okay, so then we go upstairs, get the tickets, go to it wasn't even called the Gatwick Express though, it was just like a train that stopped at Gatwick, okay? National line, I don't know. So then we go, and then our like tickets don't work, and he's like, you're on the wrong platform, but it said platform 13, but then we had to go to platform 16, and then we wait on that train for like 10 minutes before it even leaves. Leaves at 8:17 at this point. It's so late, and we're like, gosh dang it, we're supposed to be at the airport. So it's 8:17, our train leaves. We get to Gatwick at, what time would you say? 8:45. Mind you, I just ran out of memory. That's how this day is going. Train left at 9:35, right? So we get there like 8:45, and we're like, we still have a chance, right? Okay, backpedal a little bit. During the day, Lucy and me were smart, and we were like, we'll check in during the day on our phone so that it'll like save time, right? So we try to check in on my phone, but it doesn't work, and it's like, you can't check in on your phone with Vueling for like international flights. Like, it doesn't let you. Like, you have to check in at the airport. Oh, yeah, for like international flights if you don't have a European passport, and we have US passports obviously, so we're like, okay, great, awesome, cool. And then when we tried coming here, checking in at the airport was just horrible. We waited like half an hour, and then they were like, you don't have seats. You guys know, if you watch the story, basically we bought 2 tickets to travel here and we're buying 2 tickets to travel back. Okay, so it's like 8:45, we're like running to the viewing, like check-in. We get there and there's 2 people there. And we're like, hi, like our flight to Paris leaves at 9:35, like we have to check in like right now. And mind you, it's like empty, like no one's there. And they were like, oh my gosh, like we don't work for viewing, like the woman here just left. And I was like, what do you mean she just left? And they're like I think the check-in closed, like she left. And we were like, no, like we gotta get in this flight, right? So then, and also mind you, we have no bags, like we just have our personal items. So like we literally could have gone to security, got to the gate, got on the plane. Like it would have taken 10 minutes. It would have taken 10 minutes. No, 5. Because no one was there. No one would go through security, right? Whatever. So like you have to go talk to customer service. So we go to like Gatwick customer service and she's like, sorry, like check-in's closed, which I understand if they close check-in, but I'm like, this is why we try to check in during the day and we couldn't because we had American passports. She's like, that's just like a policy. And I'm like, no, like we literally were here 2 minutes after, so we got to the viewing check-in at 8:52. We were freaking 2 minutes late, guys, and she left at 8:50 because that was 45 minutes before the plane took off, and that's like their policy. But like, no, oh my god, I was so upset. So I was like crying a lot after and like just so sad, but like whatever, it's gonna work out. I'm just quickly trying to think of like the positives, but I was just so mad at that lady. I was like, no, like get us through security and then we can get on the plane. Like it's not even boarding yet. And I also thought, Lucy, like at 8:52 we would have had 13 minutes to get through security before they even started boarding, and then they usually stop boarding 15 minutes before it leaves, so we could have gotten to the gate by like 9:20 and we still could have gotten on the plane. That's what makes me mad. If we had had our boarding passes, we would have gone through security and gotten on the plane. But it's only because we didn't have our boarding passes because we couldn't get them during the day. Whatever, I'm like complaining a lot right now because obviously very heated. Like this is very recent and just happened. But this song is a good song and it's gonna be okay. And Lucy and me found Cafe Nero. I'm in like a comfy leather couch. This could be way worse. But now the only little issue is we bought a new flight. We get in tomorrow morning. Our flight leaves here at 7:40. I really hope we don't fall asleep and sleep through that too. Like we fell asleep and slept through our first tickets to come here to London. London is just like bad luck. And so I get to Charles de Gaulle at 10 and my flight that goes back to America, that goes to Boston, leaves at 11:35. So that gives me like just enough time to like go through customs, go through security, hopefully get my boarding pass. Cross your fingers, ladies and gentlemen. And Lucy's gonna have to go straight to her internship. And now we're not sleeping over tonight in Paris in Lucy's apartment like we were supposed to. We're gonna like chill in London airport all night long. But I'm kind of excited because then that means it's just like interrupted Lucy Gretchen time and we get to watch movies and hang out. So I like, it's like forced bonding when you force your twin sister to love you and hang out with you. I think that wraps it up. That's pretty much everything I want to say. Basically, Gatwick, I'm a little unimpressed with your customer service because we easily could have gone through security and gotten on the flight. And like I understand you have policies, like the flight check-in was closed, but like I don't care. Print out my boarding pass, I can still get on the plane. It's not gonna leave for half an hour, you know what I mean? So like that was just annoying because we were literally 2 minutes late, but like it's fine. We tried our best. We should have left earlier, but like I thought that we left so much buffer time, but we didn't because we kept getting lost and we were just so confused. And like coming back from London City Airport to our hotel was so easy. Like we figured it out so quick, but whatever. It's gonna be okay, right, Lou? It's gonna be okay. We're at Cafe Nero. We're going to get food. Oh yeah, just another little caveat in our situation is we have obviously American, I know, I'm gonna do it. We have American chargers and we had to go buy a converter. Thank you, Jesus. Hi, Squishy. Hopefully we get some sleep tonight. We were not about to leave the airport and find a hotel because I was like, knowing us, we'll find a hotel and sleep through our flight in the morning. So yeah. But at Cafe Nero, Lucy just got us this, is it like a falafel sweet potato wrap? Cranberries, spinach, it's really good. Vegan, of course. We got a vegan soup too. Good stuff. I am now back in Boston in my room. As you can tell, it is actually Monday, November 27th. And the last footage we were just watching was obviously like late night, Saturday the 25th. We thought that when I was filming that, when we just missed that one flight and had to reschedule for the flight in the morning, was the lowest of the low, and boy were we wrong. Things got really, really bad and took a turn for the worst on Sunday, and I literally could not vlog because Lucy and me were in just such bad shape. We were so upset. Like that was the worst morning, night combination of 2 days of my whole life. It was so bad. So I'm just gonna try to tell you guys really quick about it. Yeah, I don't even know how I'm back in Boston right now. I literally don't know. So quick recap, just so you guys are aware. When Lucy was in Amsterdam, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, she got mugged. I don't know if I talked about this, but Lucy was mugged, and she got her wallet grabbed out of her purse, which I don't know why they didn't just take her whole purse, but he took the whole wallet out of her purse, which had all of her credit cards, debit cards, cash, every ID, every form of ID, BUID, driver's license, passport, which was the biggest issue, everything. He also grabbed her Ray-Bans, but not the purse itself. So I don't know. She still had her phone back then. So yeah, so then in Amsterdam, when she tries to leave Amsterdam, she doesn't have her passport, so she can't go back to Paris, right? So she's like missing class, missing her internship. So she's stuck in Amsterdam for 4 extra days, going to the American embassy, trying to get an emergency passport. That's what they're called when your passport is stolen or lost and you need to travel to a different country like immediately. So she has to go back for school, right? So she pays like hundreds of dollars to get her emergency passport, goes back to Paris, right? And at this point, that's her only form of ID. She also had no form of like payment or money at that point. So her boyfriend that she was staying with, Dara, I don't know if you guys know about Dara, but like it's her boyfriend, and he is studying in Amsterdam. That's where he goes to college. So he was luckily there to pay for like everything, and then she ended up paying him back because now she has like a debit card again that my parents shipped her. She's been going through so many debit cards abroad. She's lost so many. Anyway, it's just been a really rough time for Lucy abroad, okay? So she gets back to Paris, and mind you, when she's in Amsterdam getting her emergency passport, she's telling them, hey, my twin sister's coming to visit me next week, we're going to London, will this emergency passport be good for then? And they're like, yeah, you're totally fine, like it's valid for a year. And she even looked it up online, it says valid for a year. But then on the emergency passport itself, it said it expired 3 months exactly from the day that she got it in Amsterdam. Okay, so then Lucy and me go to London. You guys know that's a whole mess in itself because Friday morning we had train tickets. Those were very expensive and we missed our train. So we're freaking out. We're like, we gotta go to London. We have a dinner reservation tonight. We have friends that we're hanging out with there. We have a hotel booked, like we gotta go, right? So we get tickets for a flight. I know I already talked about this, but I'm just giving you a quick recap. We get tickets for a flight that leave at like 11, barely make it on that flight, get to London. Okay, so then we got tickets way long ago, a couple weeks before, to go from London back to Paris Saturday night, and then I was leaving from Paris to come back to Boston Sunday morning. You guys saw in the clips just now that we missed the flight Saturday night to go back to Paris. So then we rebooked tickets for 7:40 in the morning. Lucy and me did not sleep at all on Saturday. We stayed up all night long, and then Sunday morning around literally 5:36 we go check in for our second Vueling flight. It's Vueling, by the way. And we check in, we get our tickets, we go through security, we go to the gate, and this is where everything goes horrible. We give them our boarding passes, our passports. Lucy only has her emergency passport, I have my real one. The emergency passport looks just like a real one, but it's like thinner, it's more like papery because they just make it like that day essentially. And the guy at the gate starts like calling up like a supervisor or something, and we're like, oh, like we're used to this. Like when you travel with an emergency passport, it's more tricky because it's not the same as like a real passport. So he's like on the phone with like his supervisor, manager, whatever it is, and he's like, you can't fly, like your emergency passport expires before 3 months. And it's like a European rule that when you fly internationally, you must have a passport that is valid for 3 months after the departure date. And in different countries they have different rules. I remember in Tanzania, like in Africa, it had to be valid for 6 months after, so I had to get a new passport before I climbed Mount Kilimanjaro, whatever. And we were like, no dude, like we understand, we knew that was the rule, but she just got this emergency passport like legit a week ago, and like they told her it would be valid for a year, and the expiration date was like 3 months from when she first got it in Amsterdam. But he was like, no, like it expires like not 3 months from like this date, like she can't fly. So we're like losing it at this point, like freaking out. Like we haven't slept in a full day. We didn't sleep the night before, so we're like sobbing. It's like literally the worst thing ever. Like the people at the gate felt really bad for us too, but you know, they were just doing their jobs, and Lucy and me were like bawling, like on the phone with my dad, which by the way, oh, I forgot to mention this. So when Lucy gets back to Paris from Amsterdam the first time, the day before I get there, she's in a restaurant with our friend Julia who's visiting her, and she's wearing this coat that has like open pockets. It's from Brandy Melville, like that gray trench coat I wore like the whole time I was there, and she had her phone in it. And someone just walked by in the restaurant and grabbed her phone out of her pocket and ran out of the restaurant. Like she literally got pickpocketed. So Lucy also doesn't have a cell phone. Oh, and right before we went to London, the day that I got there, we went out that night and I broke her wrist. So Lucy is phoneless, all forms of ID-less, has a broken wrist, is like really struggling, right? Okay, so back to we're at the gate sobbing, total mess. And they're like, oh, do you have your student visa? Like, if you just had your student visa, you could show us, then you could fly. And she's like, I told you, like, I got mugged, like, everything was stolen. We're like going on Lucy's laptop at the gate, looking through iCloud, trying to find like pictures of anything we can show them to like prove that she's like a student in Paris, like studying abroad. And they said that's all they needed. So we end up finding a picture of her student visa, which they said that she needed and she could fly. And they were like, no, doesn't work. We find her grades from all of her classes abroad in Paris. They also said they needed like the police report of when all of her stuff was stolen in Amsterdam, and she couldn't find the police report, but she found a receipt from the police report. And they're like, sorry, no. And she literally gave them every sort of documentation that she could. She gave them her address in Paris, like the building she lives in, like everything, and they just like weren't having it. And it was just horrible, guys. It was so bad. We're like, we have been at this airport for like 12 hours now. Like, we need to get out of here. Lucy needs to go to her internship. She was supposed to go to her internship during the day on Sunday because she missed so many days of her internship from being stuck in Amsterdam, not able to leave the country. And then from when I broke her wrist, we were like, the doctors all day. Like, it's just been such a hard time, right? So they're like, we literally can't let you on the flight. And one of the guys that worked at the airport felt really bad. He saw what was going on, and he was like, okay, like call the embassy, the US embassy in London right now, try to get them to like fax us something, that a documentation that you can like travel. And of course the embassy is closed on Sundays. So finally we just come to the conclusion like we're not getting on the flight. And that was like the hardest realization, because we had just waited in the airport for like 12 hours to get on that flight, and we're like sobbing walking through the airport. The next thing we have to do is contact the US embassy in London and try to figure this whole thing out, because Lucy literally is not allowed to leave the country. So my phone, since it's an American phone, I had no service in London or Paris the entire time I was there, and my phone only worked on Wi-Fi. But when your phone works on Wi-Fi, you can like FaceTime, you can iMessage, but you can't like call, like have like a normal cellular service like call. And we're like, cool, we can't even call the embassy. So then we find a payphone, but Lucy only has euros. So we have to go all the way around to like currency exchange euros for some pounds. And the woman can't understand why we just need it in coins. And we're like, we're trying to use a payphone, like crying. We go back to the payphone isn't working. Lucy's like throwing in like £1,000,000, like I don't even know. It was just like the lowest of the low, and it was just so upsetting. Finally, like a woman at a customer service desk near us in the airport like felt bad. We were using her phone. Lucy calls the embassy, and they like made her appointment for like 8:15 a.m. Monday the next day, because they were closed on Sunday. But like even though they were closed, you could still call someone. I don't know. So then the issue became, do I stay with Lucy in London, who is her wrist is broken, she can't do that much on her own, she doesn't have a cell phone, she has one debit card, that is it, like only an emergency passport, no other form of ID. Like obviously I wanted to stay with Lucy. I was like, I am not leaving you here. Like I could have gotten on that first flight, like I got checked in and could go get on the plane and everything, but I was not about to leave Lucy. And I was like, obviously I'll stay with Lucy in London to get this whole thing sorted out so she can go back to Paris. But this Friday, so it's Monday now, this Friday I have my final business presentation in core, where we pretty much present our whole business plan that we turned in last Tuesday. Like this is one of the most important academic weeks of my life. Like core is so important. You need core to graduate. It's like so academically like rigorous and just intense that I was like, I need to go back to Boston. Like my team cannot be without me. I need to be involved in this. Like this is just the worst timing ever. And mind you, when we missed that flight from London back to Paris, I was supposed to get on the 11:35 flight from Paris back to Boston, but I missed that one also because I couldn't get on the 7:40 flight from London to Paris. So we're like missing flights left and right. And finally Lucy was like, Gretchen, like you need to go back to Boston. Like core is so important. You need to like prioritize your academics. She's like, I'll be fine. Like I will go to the embassy at 8:15 in the morning. They'll get me a new emergency passport, and I'll book a flight right then and there back to Paris, and I'll fly back to Paris today, Monday. And it was like the hardest decision. I literally cried the whole flight home from London to Boston yesterday, because I was like, I literally have just left Lucy stranded. It's my fault her wrist is broken. She doesn't have a phone. She has no way to like call an Uber or contact any one of us unless she's on her computer on like Wi-Fi. And like it was just like the hardest situation. And I was like, Lucy, I cannot believe this is happening. Like everything just kept going wrong, you know? And I feel like I haven't had that big of challenges in life, but that was definitely one of them, being stuck in London and like your twin sister is literally not allowed to travel. And So I didn't have a flight back to Boston, but I needed to come back. So then right then and there, when we finally figured out after talking for like an hour that like she was gonna stay in London alone and figure this out by herself, like she's 20, she's an adult, like I knew she could do it, but I just didn't want to leave her, you know. And she was like, you need to go back to Boston. I was like, okay, I need to go. So I went on my phone, found the quickest flight from London straight back to Boston. I found a direct flight, thank goodness. It took like 7.5 hours. It was pretty quick. Quick meaning like there wasn't like layovers and stuff. And it was so expensive because I bought it like 2 hours before. And then there was like issues because for like international flights like that, they need your passport on record like 72 hours prior to the flight, but I bought the ticket like 2 hours before the flight left, you know. So I was like, no, not today's and like I'm getting on this flight. And like luckily I did. And I flew Norwegian Air Shuttle back to Boston. It was like this massive plane, and they like fed us good food. It was like a really good experience. They felt really bad about everything that happened in the morning. And oh wait, another thing I forgot to mention, this is like the longest, most confusing thing ever. You probably don't care, I'm sorry, I'm just explaining hard times to you. So after we're like crying on the phone at the embassy and my dad, and we're like still stuck like literally like in like the gate section, like through security and everything, we're like, okay, well now Lucy ended up getting a hotel at the airport. Yeah, Sunday night. She stayed in like Sunday afternoon, Sunday night. And then I need to go check in for my Norwegian Air Shuttle flight back to Boston. And so we go to security, try to go back out the other way, and they're like, no, you can't. Once you've already come through security, you can't walk out the other way. Like, you're gonna have to go to customer service and have someone like escort you. So we thought the customer service was just gonna escort us through security, but no, we went through like a million like tunnels and back doors and elevators and stuff, and we're like, where are we going? And we end up at like UK border customs, like where people that are flying into the UK from other countries like go through like customs, and the line was like a million miles long. And the guy that was escorting us, I was like, no sir, like we don't have to go through here, we are in the UK, like we just need to go back to where all the check-in booths are. And he was like, no, like you already went through security and you were at your gate, and since you missed your flight, like you have to go through customs right now. And we're like, are you kidding me? And we wait in the line for like an hour with this like airport agent that's like taking us through, and then we have to explain our story to the customs agent, like everything I just told you, and it took forever and he could not understand it. And we had to show him proofs of like my flight going back to Boston, and I had to find the flight that I booked for Lucy coming from Paris back to Boston on, or New York, whatever it is, on like December 22nd when we come home. And I like couldn't find the flight, and like it was just the biggest mess of our whole life. But so anyway, so I end up getting on a flight Sunday afternoon. I left it was, oh, this is also really weird, I left London at 4 p.m. but I got into Boston at 6:30 p.m. because of like the 5-hour time difference. So because the flight was like 7.5 hours, so I get back last night, Sunday night, and I'm like dead, like so tired, like slept for like 13 hours, whatever. But because I literally didn't sleep at this point for like 35 hours. It was like something insane. Like I just didn't sleep for 2 days. But okay, update. So called Lucy on Facebook Messenger this morning because she still doesn't have a phone, and she did go to the embassy at 8 a.m. They did give her a new emergency passport, and as we speak she is on a flight from London back to Paris. Thank you God for making this one thing run smoothly, and she can resume her internship if they don't hate her or like fire her, because she's been to like 0 days of it. But I just feel so bad for this girl, guys. Like Lucy has the worst luck ever. She did everything she could. She did everything in her power. She did everything right. She got all these emergency passports, did like everything she could, but it's not her fault when like her wallet gets stolen with like her whole life in it, and then her phone gets pickpocketed, you know what I mean? So I guess just, sorry this is really long, one thing you can learn from this is like, I guess things can always be worse. Like we're like lying in the airport ground sobbing our eyes out at like 7:45 in the morning. Obviously things could be so worse. Like we were so extremely fortunate that we were able to like figure it all out, and she was able to go to the embassy, and that we had enough money to buy like 8 flights that we kept missing, you know what I mean? Like obviously not ideal, but it could have been so much worse. So yeah, that's just like the hell that we've been through in the past couple of days. Lucy, I love you when you watch this, and like I know things are gonna turn around for you, because I know right now it's really rough with like nothing, but your wrist will heal in like 4 to 5 weeks. He said your phone is on the way. Mommy and daddy shipped you a new one. You're gonna finish out your internship strong, and they will, I'm sure, be understanding of everything that you've been through. And yeah, for all of you guys out there with hard times, like I've never had anything is even as hard as that, which isn't even that horrible, happened to me in my whole life. And Lucy's like, this is a normal day for me, like things always go wrong. So if you feel like you have like really bad luck and things always go wrong, like I guess that happens to Lucy too. And I'm like pretty much like a lucky person, like never missed a flight before. that whole mess. And yeah, I just want to let you guys know that if there's a will, there's a way. There's always a way to like figure things out. Like you're gonna like get home eventually, you know. Just sometimes it takes a couple days when you're stuck in a country and the embassy won't let you out, you know what I mean? But anyway, so I think that is a whole story. Right now it is 3:23 on Monday and I'm going to my core meeting right now. We have to practice for our presentation on Friday, which is like the whole reason I had to come home yesterday. So yeah, that is our story and pretty much the worst week, 2 weeks of Lucy's life. Like everything's been going wrong for that girl, but just know I love you so much, Lou, and we're all here for you. And if you guys are watching this, go comment like nice comments on her Instagram, okay? Because she just needs some support in life right now. Vlogmas starts Friday. Get excited. If you have a similar horror story with flights and countries and airplanes, like comment down below and let me know because I want to hear them. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.